Today I'd like to demo the Stella amplifier for you. It's a miniature battery-powered guitar amplifier kit. In the first part of this video I'm going to be getting into detail on the actual kit and the process of building it and explaining a little bit how it works. If you're not interested in the technical details, you go ahead and skip to the second part, and that's where I actually plug an instrument or two into it and let you hear what it sounds like in real life, YouTube quality. So, the Stella amp. If you're familiar with my channel, I build cigar box amplifiers. I mean, this is the sixth one I've done, so I'm not necessarily an expert, but not a total noob either. Now, I hang out at Cigar Box Nation, which it's a forum for cigar box guitar builders, and there's a section there where the guys that monkey around electronics and build the amps hang out too. So I had posted a bunch of links to my videos there for my cigar box amps, and a little while down the road a guy contacted me, said he was going to be putting together a kit for a guitar amp which he felt was going to solve some of the issues that you normally run into with the typical Ruby, Gem, Noisy Cricket. Most of the mini amp circuits that you see, the popular ones, they all use the same chip, which is an LM386. And it's a simple circuit. It's a one-chip amp design, and they're fantastic. They run off a battery. You know, the only issue I really have with them is you don't get a good clean tone necessarily out of it, especially at a lower volume. And that's where the Stella really shines. You can get as clean as you want at low volume, and then all the way up to a good amount of overdrive or distortion dirt coming out of this sucker. And it also is very flexible on the power supply. This amp runs anywhere from 3 to 12 volts up to 16. If you do have to change, there's a chip you can go and buy. It's less than $2 for the chip, and this chip it's in a socket, so you can pop it out and it's readily available at any Radio Shack. You replace the chip and then you can go up to 16 volts. And with these types of circuits, as the voltage increases, depending on what you're running off of, so does the output of the amp. So, I guess I can read a little bit. I'll quote off of what the guy who designed this, what he wrote about it on the website. It says, Stella is engineered for a good clean tone. The Stella amp uses a TBA 820M for the back end, with a rail-to-rail op amp on the front end for maximum headroom. Unlike other amps, you don't have to crank it to get a good clean sound. Engineered late at night when the kids were sleeping. John he's a good father of a couple little kids. I don't really know that. He could be like this insane raving lunatic that beats his kids, but anyway, he didn't want to wake them up when he was designing it, so he says that anything that sounded good at low volume levels, anything that didn't sound good at low volume levels got fixed early in the process. And he means it, because boy, this thing, it sounds fantastic for the clean sound. And you know, like I said, it's a very versatile amp. You're going to hear it in the long run. You're not going to believe how good this thing sounds compared to the other ones that are out there. He goes on to say many mini amps use LM386 chip for the power stage. The LM386 has a, shall we say, characteristic sound. If you love that sound, great. If you are not a fan of the LM386, that would be me, or just want a little versatility, check this amp out. Great clean tone at low volume levels. Versatile controls. You have gain, trim, and level. And the trim is that's where you don't run into that normally, and that really helps it out quite a bit. It runs off 3 to 12 volts, even 16 if you switch the amp chip. 1 to 2 watt output, depending on the voltage. And it also has the extra hacks on the circuit board. There's an additional output, and you can get instructions on his website. I believe he's going to have that up there soon, how to modify this to make it into a stomp box as a booster or kind of distortion pedal, or turn it into a headphone amplifier. You could, you know, add a headphone jack, or just strictly make this into a package for a high quality headphone amp, or modify it for a line out. And that's all. I mean, these modifications we're talking about basically just adding a resistor or two in there. And on my kit he even included those extra parts. Thanks, John. Also, it's a very small footprint. As you'll see, well, I can show you right now. There's pictures that I'm going to be showing through this video, but that's the chip. That's the circuit board for this amplifier. It's incredibly small. I mean, for a reference, this would be 100 size pack of cigarettes, hundreds. So it's just a little wider than your normal package of cigarettes. And it does have 2 chips in there. There's a front end and a back end on that amp. So, like I was telling you, the experience, I mean, he got a hold of me, and the next day I received the package. It was packaged just, he had went out of his way to make sure it didn't get damaged. Everything was organized. He included the URL where I went online, and he has a step-by-step photographic illustration all the way down on how to assemble this. Didn't take me very long to put it together. It's not that many parts. I mean, I'm looking at it now. There's maybe 7 or 8 capacitors, 9 resistors maybe, a couple of diodes, and 2 chips, you know. And I mean, I went ahead and I added a power switch. I added a switch for the tweeter. That's what this switch is. Used an automotive speaker. It came with an extra tweeter, so I can kill that if I want. And it's a 40-watt speaker with a 4 ohm impedance. It's flexible with the ohms for this, for what type of speaker you want to run on here as well. I mean, if you wanted to, you could build this into a much smaller package and use, let's say, a 2 or a 3-inch or a couple 3-inch drivers. If you wanted something real portable, and then you would include a jack on that. When you plug that in, it would disconnect the internal speakers, and then you could run it on a larger speaker cabinet. It would make this even more versatile. You could do like a head design, build it into a pedal even, and have this tiny, you know, amplifier. And I mean, the amazing thing, I still don't know how John did it. This kit is going for $30. And so comparing to the other amp kits that I'm looking at out there, this is just a fantastic value. It really is. So I think I've said just about all there is I can say right now about this. I'm going to go ahead and move on to part 2 of the demonstration where you guys get to hear it. And I just want to say thanks to John. I'm not sure about the information about how to get a hold of him. If anybody sees this and they're interested, you can contact me through my channel, and I will definitely hook you up with John. He's in the beginning stages of this project, so I'm not sure about the availability, but I'm sure I could help you out. If you're looking for this, feel free to contact me, and we'll see you in part 2.